Hello, everyone, and welcome into the inaugural episode of Sideline Vision. I'm your host, Nick Ramp. I'm joined by my co-host, Ty Wellemeyer, and we will also normally be joined by our sports editor at the Vision, Reese Letty. Fortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, he could not make it today. But, we move on, we move forward. It's just me and Ty today to start us off. And Ty, to start us off, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, Nick. I feel like a long time coming. We've been talking about, hey, let's do a podcast. And thankfully, we finally got the green light for it. And here we are in my dorm room right now. So
Yeah.
let's do this.
I've made this joke a few times around the office, but realistically, this podcast has existed for year and a half now, and we're just finally sitting down and putting mics in front of us. So, um, we love talking sports, Belmont sports. We're going to cover as much as we can, and we're going to be starting off with Belmont sports today. Entering our instant replay segment, Ty, would you care to catch us up on everything that's happened in men's soccer so far?
I would love to, Nick. So, men's soccer, 2-0 to start the season. They had a 2-1 win over Wright State and then a 2-0 win against Memphis at Memphis, which, fun fact, Nick, that is the first win for the Bruins against the Tigers in 10 games.
Wow.
So, that's actually progress for the team. And three Bruins have scored one goal each: Brock Kuiper, Louis Pena, and Parker Forbes. So, it's a trio of goal scorers so far for the Bruins. And they also had a goal off an own goal from Memphis. So quite a scoring barrage so far for the Bruins.
And I know that Parker Forbes scored in his first game as a
That
Bruin.
that was in fact his first game as a Bruin. So that's always nice to see the new additions contributing immediately for Belmont. So I'm curious to see where he goes from here.
Yeah, and speaking of new additions, not quite new, but up and comers in Belmont athletics, women's soccer started 2-1. Their previous game was a 1-0 win over Coastal Carolina on Sunday. But really, what I want to touch on is that sophomore Caitlin Elliott currently leads the team. She has 2 goals through 3 games, scored just three all of last year. I say just three. That's not a bad
That's
mark.
nothing to bat your eye at.
Not at all. But my point being that through 3 games, she's already scored twice, and she was Belmont's third leading scorer behind Ava Labaki and Reagan Ross last season. And now they were all freshmen last year.
Yeah.
Top 3 leading scorers, all freshmen, now all sophomores. It's really exciting for the future of women's soccer.
Without, I mean, they make women's soccer fun to watch at Belmont, and I can't wait to see what they do throughout the rest of the season. So, you ready to transition to future focus, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, normally we'll have more to cover looking
Yeah.
back, but within the first week and a half or so of the school year, we've had 5 soccer games, and that's been
Yeah,
it
not a whole lot to
since
talk
everybody's
about.
been back on campus. So we're going to look forward here, a little future focus. Ty, why don't you take us back to men's soccer?
Yeah, so men's soccer, they have a matchup Friday with Harvard in Cambridge. So it's the home opener for the Crimson, the first ever matchup between the two teams, Nick. So fortunately, Belmont doesn't have a lot of experience with Harvard, so that should be a really fun matchup to watch. And then on Tuesday, the Bruins host Bellarmine. Last season, the Knights and Bruins, they tied. So maybe the Bruins can get the upper hand this time. They're riding that wave of momentum. So I think that's something to really be monitoring as Tuesday comes.
Yeah, and then for women's soccer, we have 2 games coming up in the next week. They play at Lindenwood Sunday and then at home at ES Rose Park versus Eastern Kentucky. Smaller schools,
Yeah.
but like I said, with the talent that the team has currently, I feel like it's almost a must watch. Like almost all of them, it's like you just want to see something happen. And with this women's soccer team, you have a really good opportunity for that. Plus 2-1, it may not be 3-0, but with a win over a bigger school like Coastal Carolina, it's really promising for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with men's soccer right now. They're starting off hot. That makes you want to come watch the team because you want to see that win streak continue. You want to see David Costa's team do really, really well. You don't want to see the magic end. And I think Harvard could give them some trouble, possibly. But, I mean, this team has shown that they are gritty and they can dig out the wins when they need to. And Bellarmine, they tied last year. Bellarmine's not a big school. That should give them too much trouble. And like I said, momentum is one heck of a drug. So could Belmont pull out the win there on Tuesday? I think that's a really good question.
Yeah, and then coming up on this Friday, very exciting day.
This is
First off,
big.
I want to say men's and women's cross country starts their season off. Um, should be a good one. Show out, support your fellow Bruins. Um, and then a really unique event, I think, is the volleyball game against Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt. Ty, why don't you go into that, and I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, so Vanderbilt hasn't had a volleyball team, Nick, since 1980. So
1980,
1980,
45 years.
my mom was 4 years old.
You know what? So was mine.
So just to put that in perspective, my mom is now like 49. So
You're just gonna out your mother on the very first episode of the podcast.
Mom, if you're listening to this, you are 35. So please forgive me.
Well, my mother's like 29. So
yeah, we both have very young moms. But yeah, so this is Vanderbilt's first volleyball team in 45 years. There's a lot of excitement on campus. I believe they purchased a big billboard on Broadway. They're really trying to get people to come to it. And, ladies and gentlemen, it is on Wyatt Lawn at Belmont. So this is an outdoor volleyball game. It's on SEC Network. And this is the first time Belmont has played Vanderbilt because, first time in 45 years. I think there's a lot of hype around this game. This is going to be a really good first test for Fritz Rosenberg in his first game as the head coach of Belmont's volleyball team.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I'm going to be covering it for the Vision, so I will be there. Night game under the lights outside. It's just going to be a crazy atmosphere. I think obviously the Vandy fans are going to be packing the seats. So yeah, just very, very exciting. A very, very unique opportunity for the Bruins to hopefully spoil the 45-year comeback of the Commodores volleyball team.
And yeah, the very interesting thing with Vanderbilt is they've already played a game. They took a very good Kansas volleyball team to 5 sets. Granted, they kind of lost steam in that 5th set, but as we might cover in a second, I saw Belmont a lot last year lose steam in that 5th set when it really needed to pick it up. But Vanderbilt is good. They have a lot of talent. You saw that against Kansas last weekend. I think this is going to be a struggle for Belmont. It's going to be a challenge, but anything can happen in sports, and that's why we love to cover them, Nick.
Yeah, and that's kind of the best thing about this matchup, in my opinion, is that Vanderbilt, it's such a big school. They have a volleyball team, SEC. You have to assume, there's just a certain baseline quality that comes with that. But at the same time, the first team in 45 years,
it's an unknown.
It's a complete unknown, just like Bob Dylan. Vanderbilt volleyball is Bob Dylan, is what I'm trying to say. It's super exciting that you just don't know what to expect, and if Belmont goes in and wins, it feels like such a prove it win.
That's a momentum booster.
And it almost feels win-win. Even coming out with a loss, you say, hey, we went up against an SEC school. And it's kind of rare for, I don't want to say rare, but it's not as common for a school like Belmont in the Missouri Valley Conference to play a Power 4 school, really in most sports.
Yeah.
And so, again, to see that happen, very exciting. And I'll also say, similarly to the soccer teams, I just like watching the stat sheet fill up. And so I'm very excited to see Brooke Gilliland, who's really been the primary offensive focus of Belmont's team the last few years, continue to improve. Her stats have gone up each year. So I'm very excited for that game.
That's a good thing to note, Nick, because usually when a new coach comes in, you see the whole roster turn over. You see players who contributed last year leave because, I don't fit what the new coach wants. Fritz Rosenberg did one heck of a job keeping most of the core players from last year's team. He got Gilliland back. He got Emily Warmanhoven back. He got Lily Lutz back. He got Bella Mathis back. Yes, there are a lot of freshmen. Yes, there are a lot of transfer sophomores to this team. So kind of like Vanderbilt, Belmont has some question marks. Can that youth produce? Can those unproven players who maybe sat on the bench last year, who now need to actually play meaningful minutes for Belmont volleyball, are they going to be able to contribute? So I think there are a lot of questions. But yeah, Gilliland's fun to watch. Warmanhoven's fun to watch. Lily Lutz is the heart of this team back there. It's a very fun team to watch. And Vanderbilt, I think, knows that Belmont's a fun team to watch, or else they wouldn't have scheduled them for the first home game to get that Nashville atmosphere. There's going to be food trucks. I keep getting emails from Vanderbilt and Belmont trying to get me to go, and I will be there. It's gonna be one heck of a match. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I mean, just a home opener, 45 years in the making. Just so that's not all for volleyball this weekend. It might be the highest stakes matchup, but there is still more. Multiple home games. Ty, why don't you take us through those?
Yeah, so Saturday at 5 p.m., volleyball hosts Seton Hall, a team from the Big East, coming to the Curb Event Center. And then on Sunday at 2, they host UT Martin, so an in-state rival there. Two games where both teams don't have that great of records from last season. So this should be a good test for Fritz Rosenberg coming off that Vanderbilt game. See, where do we really stand in the grand scheme of things? Because if you can go 2-0 for the weekend against Seton Hall and against UT Martin, but maybe you lose to Vanderbilt, I think that would be a win for Belmont volleyball.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, regardless of the outcome of the Vandy game, how he responds. Whether it's you don't want to get too excited off a win against a team like Vanderbilt and then not take your other opponents as seriously. But also, if you lose coming off of Vanderbilt, it'll be important to see how he manages to bounce back from that.
I think you make a really good first point about, let's say Belmont does beat Vandy. We've seen college football, college basketball, college athletics. These smaller teams have these big upsets against bigger schools, and they ride that high for as long as they can, and then when they collapse, they collapse.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a good thing to watch for the weekend. They beat Vandy, then they host a Seton Hall team that I don't think reached double-digit wins last season. If they lose to Seton Hall, that's not a great look.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to see as a coach. So I think definitely you have to treat all three of these games equally as important, because let's say you go 2-1, 3-0 coming off this weekend. That is a great start for Fritz Rosenberg and this team.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it best. So we do have one more bonus question here about Belmont. Ty and I, both seniors here at Belmont University, both born on the exact same day, as a matter of
May
fact.
6,
May
2004.
6, 2004. A great day for me and for Ty, I would assume. Regardless, both seniors, both have seen a lot of athletes come and go through the Belmont system. Ty, I want to ask you first. At your time at Belmont, who has been your favorite athlete to watch?
That's such a good question, because I know we didn't really mention it in the introduction, but I was the sports editor for a semester. I was the editor in chief for 3 semesters, and I still covered a lot of sports. Before that, I was a sports writer for the Vision. So I've seen so many athletes on the court, on the field. It's got to be Ben Shepherd.
Ben
Ben Shepherd,
Shepherd.
freshman year, coming in as a freshman, not really knowing a lot about Belmont, and he just made me fall in love with the basketball team. Such a great interview, such a great guy, very personable, and on the court, he turned into some stone cold killer. He was a great defender, great shooter, brought an energy that Casey Alexander could turn to when the team was down. Just and now he's playing for the Pacers. You've seen that in Indiana during the finals and the playoff run. He was just so much fun, and I think those memories are going to stay with me for a while, just because it was my first season. I'll give an honorable mention to Jacoby Gillespie, now at Tennessee. Really nice guy, really personable, and just so much fun to watch on the court. He was so athletic, so skilled, and just watching him run that offense for 2 seasons was just so much fun. And him last year at Maryland was extremely fun to watch, and I can't wait to see what he does in the SEC.
Yeah, I remember those Gillespie-led offenses were some of the most prolific
They were
and
so
volatile.
they were so fun.
They were so fun. That team moved so fast. Yeah, that's a great pick, and also obviously Ben Shepherd. He's kind of the golden boy of Belmont at the
Belmont
moment.
royalty.
Belmont royalty. And he's kind of the rare situation where he did his time at Belmont, and we're still able to watch him play.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of is able to make you enjoy him more and more.
I think another thing, I'll speak on Ben for one more second. I think one thing that makes him kind of Belmont royalty here is that he was in the back half of his career was during the transfer portal and NIL era.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of leaving for, Tennessee or Louisville or Kentucky, he stayed at Belmont and treated Belmont as his home. And I think the Belmont faithful has returned the favor. We still support him in the NBA. We do all that jazz. And I think that's what makes him such a fun player to watch too, is you could see his love for Belmont on the court.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I was the one that pitched this question
You did.
for this episode, and I pitched it because I had a very specific answer in my mind. I knew before the question formed in my head what my answer was, and that answer is Maya Johnson,
It's great.
softball pitcher.
Great pick.
I've just I've watched and covered a lot of softball in recent years, and it's just I can't even describe how confident I am for the Bruins to win when Maya Johnson goes out on the field to pitch. Now I can try. This was the best analogy I could come up with. I'm a fan of the Detroit Tigers. We currently have Tarek Skubal, last year's AL Cy Young, may repeat this year.
Probable repeat.
So the probable American League Cy Young repeat winner, I feel more confident about the Bruins winning when Maya Johnson's on the mound than I do about the Tigers winning when the potential back-to-back AL Cy Young is on the mound.
That is some strong confidence.
Well, I'll let you know why. First off, career record at Belmont, 50-15.
That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. She went 24-6 last year and pitched 207 innings.
207 innings.
Not only is that unbelievable, but it's so much more than even anyone else on the team. It's ridiculous.
It's not even. That's probably who's second place. Like,
so second place, Ellie Giles. Maya Johnson, reminder, 207 innings pitched. Ellie Giles, number 2, had a fantastic season.
Great season.
Fantastic season. I cannot emphasize that enough. Pitched 62 innings.
Maya Johnson pitched
145 more innings. Not a math major, I apologize. 145 more innings than her next closest teammate last season.
That's hard to wrap my head around. That they relied on her that much.
That's the thing that's so crazy to me is not only is she one of the most dominant pitchers I've ever seen, but she just keeps going.
There's no stopping her.
She somehow is an ace and an innings eater at the same time. And I mean, you look through her games, it's almost always 6 or 7 innings pitched. She just is unbelievable. She strikes out a ton. She just goes out there and it's like I just know we're winning. I know the Bruins are going to win when Maya Johnson is on the mound. Her batting average against last season was just 155. That means 15 out of 100 batters, give or take, gets a hit off her. She gave up just 45 runs last season. Now, the funny thing is, in 2024, she gave up 30 earned runs. You see that bump up to 45, you go, what went wrong? Well, the answer is nothing. She just pitched so much more. She pitched about 66 more innings this year.
Yeah.
Her ERA after giving up 15 more runs went up just .03.
That's ridiculous.
Honestly, in my life, of every athlete I've seen watch in person, I don't know if I've ever seen someone more dominant than Maya Johnson at any level. She's been a pleasure to watch. She's staying at Belmont for her senior year. I can't wait to cover some of that. I'm super excited. Yeah, just I cannot believe how good she is.
Yeah, I think the 206 innings pitched really speaks to how much faith that staff has in her. To know that A, she's not going to get tired. B, she can get the job done when the going gets tough, which happens a lot when you're pitching sometimes. And C, it just proves to how vital she is for Belmont.
And also just that her quality doesn't diminish.
It doesn't dip
through
over
games,
beginners.
through years. Like, I've seen her pitch back-to-back days. I think I've seen her pitch in back-to-back games before. Like, she just, that windmill motion keeps on rolling no matter what. And yeah, I honestly, okay, so there's a lot of sports happening nationally, a lot of things going on. NFL's about to start up, but what has already started up is college football. We're in the college football area. We're in the South.
Southeastern Conference, it just means more, baby.
Just means more. Love college football down here. So we're going to do just a short pick 'em. We got 5 games on the docket. Me and Ty are going to go head-to-head throughout the year. We can pick the same teams.
Yeah.
But we're going to hopefully try to keep track of record here and see who comes out on top for pick 'em.
This is a big deal. Winner gets, I guess, the pride and joy of being better than the other person.
Bragging rights exiting college on the way out.
Maybe a Chago's taco.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe like a $25 gift card or something. We haven't discussed that, but we'll figure something out. Anyways, first game on the docket, of course,
This is a big one.
it had to be number 1 Texas at number 3 Ohio State.
I don't remember there being a game in week 1 that has more stakes and star power to it than this game.
Might I also mention, just to make it more exciting, Lee Corso's final college game day.
Man,
could you ask for more?
You really couldn't. That's the thing. If there was a game that I'd pick to send Lee Corso out on, it's Texas Ohio State. Like, 2 of the blue bloods of college football. I know that term gets thrown around a lot, blue bloods. These 2 teams are actual blue bloods and royalty of college football.
A couple of the most iconic brands in college football.
Literally the defending national champion versus who many think might win the national championship this year.
This may very well be the most number 1 and number 2 most iconic college football program.
It might actually be.
So Ty, I'm gonna let you go first. Who do you got?
This is a tough one because both teams are playing unproven quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
For Texas, you have Arch Manning, who, for those of you who do not know, is the nephew of Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, maybe 2 of the most recognizable quarterbacks of the 21st century.
The family is football royalty.
I mean, if not all time, those 2 guys are known for people from our generation. For Ohio State, it's Julian Sayin, who is a very well-known recruit. He was an Alabama commit, flipped to Ohio State when Nick Saban retired. He has not thrown a snap in college football. Arch Manning, he has 95 career passing attempts. None have come on the road. They are traveling in to Ohio State, Texas is, a place that is very well known for being hard to play in, and especially winning. That being said, I'm taking Texas.
I also have to say hook 'em. I
Hook 'em.
gotta say hook 'em horns. I can't help myself. Look, Ohio State, obviously defending national champs. Great team.
Best wide receiver in the country.
It pains me as a resident of Michigan, even as a Michigan State fan, to say that Ohio State is a great team, but it's undeniable. That being said, even on the road, number 1 is number 1. There's a reason they're number 1, and I think they're going to show that to open the season.
Here's my
Ohio State.
Here's my question mark with Ohio State. Yeah, I mean, so here's a fun fact for you, Nick. So Texas and Ohio State played in the semifinals of the college football playoffs last year.
They sure did.
The Texas defense held Jeremiah Smith, who's the best receiver in the country, to 1 catch for 3 yards.
Yeah.
And if you're shutting down Jeremiah Smith, I'm not sure if there's another weapon here who is as proven as, let's say, Emeka Egbuka last year, who got drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFL. I'm not sure if there's someone who can replicate that level of production.
And you can criticize Will Howard all you want. National champion Will Howard.
National champion Will Howard.
But regardless, he is much more of a proven commodity than Julian Sayin is. I'm just saying.
Without a doubt.
I will tell you that is the end of our very first episode of Sideline Vision. We thank you for listening. A little all over the place, but I feel like we touched on everything we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah. We'll be back next week, hopefully with Reese Letty joining us also, to talk more Belmont sports and more national sports.
Yeah. It's going to be a big weekend in volleyball. We'll make sure to talk about that, and we'll see you next week.